I am Razim. This is E3. We are covering more of their stage show today at the E3 Expo. Looks like we've got Microsoft and Ubisoft coming up today. Here in the next portion of the stage show. We will have the Rooms and Reptiles Dungeons and Dragons game this evening. I do hope you all join me for that. But otherwise, coming up here next, looks like we are going to be taking a look at Astroneer. So, do join me for that. Hey, perfect timing.
Hey everybody, welcome back to E3 on Twitch. I'm your host Rachel. I've got Kelly down at the end, and between us, we've got Joe and Riley, the guys from Astroneer. That was a hell of a little preview you just gave us. A reminder to you guys at home, you can play Astroneer out because it's been in early access since 2016, but this is the launch.
Yes.
So what do you want us to take away from this mysterious trailer you've given us?
Well, the major thing is that we're finally talking about our 1.0 release date, which is a big milestone for us. We've been, like you mentioned, in early access and game preview since December 2016. So the plan is to launch the game around the 2-year anniversary.
Lovely.
Yeah, really excited.
Will players be able to take their early access worlds and all their content and bring it over with them to the 1.0 launch?
So with that, I mean, we've been actually in early access. We've been doing our best to support saves between updates. There's always some things that sort of like fall by the wayside because we don't want to spend a ton of time fixing for those, and then you don't necessarily get to put as much stuff in the game that you want. But since we've launched, we've tried our best to make sure that those things work going forward.
And if you buy the game now in early access, you still get to keep that copy. So just to clarify those that don't know that.
Yes.
Well, you mentioned changes over the last 2 years of the game. What really have some of those changes been, and how have they been driven by the community, and how they've been driven by your own discovery?
Well, yeah, it's been really cool to see. Early access is really fun because you get to put the game out there and get it in people's hands and get all sorts of feedback, all sorts of great insight from people who are actually kicking the tires on it. And so some of the bigger stuff that we've implemented is completely changing base building. So people who maybe haven't seen the game in a while, if you jumped back in, you would see a completely new mechanic for that, sort of organizing your base, setting it up. We've also done stuff with our rovers, so we actually just had an update about that where we kind of poked fun at ourselves during early access and said it's been a little wild, but look, it's great now. Everything's really good.
Yeah, you guys added absolute steering to that, right?
Yes.
Which is something that fans really wanted.
Yeah, so we got a lot. That's one of those things where we got that feedback forever, and we were like, okay, we got to figure out when we're going to work it in. And now we're super happy. We have people in the community. Brozelli, shout out to you. He's creating Mario Kart courses in the game.
What?
To drive our rovers around it. So yeah, we get all sorts of cool stuff like that because our game is so malleable. We'll show a little bit later, but you can take your terrain tool out and basically make whatever you would like in the game.
Right.
You can infinitely deform the planet. You can dig to the center. You can run around the entire thing.
Make ramps for your rover.
Yes.
Tunnels, bridges, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such an important part of these open world games is really not just the content that you're providing, but what the players can make out of it.
Yes. We normally see 2 kinds of players. We see the people who get really jazzed on building bases, But then people who are just purely creative, who are just like, I want to make a huge dinosaur that's like 30 stories tall. It's like, okay, sure, do that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
So-
incredible. What you guys have built your own 30-story tall mysterious object as well. We saw
Yes.
that towards the end of the preview. Can you tell us a little bit more about your giant purple
Structure?
monolith?
I like structure. We're really excited for players to figure out what that thing is. What we can say about it is it's the first time that we are going to be able to sort of flex our muscles to give players directed goals to just like go towards. The game has been purely a sandbox up until this point. Not purely, but mostly a sandbox where you kind of go through the base building mechanics, unlock things, and then a lot of people like make their own fun. And some of that early access feedback that we've gotten was like, I want like missions, I want things to do, I want a goal. And so that's going to be part of that. And then the other part is just going to be allowing us to like explore and expand on the Asher universe because people love the characters. They think they're super adorable. Want to do some
They
emotes?
are. Oh,
Yeah.
so want to
Yeah.
do something else, Riley?
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of characters, in that trailer, we saw more than 4 players.
Ooh, yeah.
Let's talk about that.
It's good. That's good. You got a sharp eye. Yeah. So part of what we had talked about yesterday was crossplay between Steam, Windows 10, and Xbox. And so part of what that's going to enable by having dedicated servers is expanding on the amount of players that we're going to allow into multiplayer sessions, which we're super excited about.
Is there a number that you can tell us of how many players can be on one? And are they private servers?
So yeah, they're going to be it's going to be sort of a similar experience where it's not like you jump in with like random strangers. It's kind of like expanding on the play with your friends, play with people that you know. I think we'll probably explore that other stuff in the future of like you might just jump into a server with random people, but
Right.
not necessarily there yet. But yeah, we can't give a number because actually, honestly, we want to just push it as far as we can go.
Totally.
So we don't want to just settle on something and then.
Beyond player characters, will we be seeing any other creatures, encounters, aliens?
We saw, people thought it was a asteroid that hit someone, but it was actually a plant.
Yes. So you did some research.
She was just watching the trailer.
Yeah, so the plant in the trailer is one of those things where we haven't necessarily expanded on that in early access, and we're really excited to start pushing that. Creatures is probably going to be a thing that comes in around like after 1.0, but like aggressive and basically flora that you can interact with in the world is definitely in scope, and we're really excited to keep exploring that.
Are we going to see anything like portals on land or wormholes in space?
Yeah, so a lot of people saw that little spot where something slides out from behind the planet and immediately went like interstellar, wormhole, something like that. We won't say anything about it now,
Okay.
but it's good. I like where we're going with that. It's good.
Well, you guys are pretty open about your progress, what you have planned down the line. You guys even have your Trello open and available for fans to check out. So what would you recommend checking out over on your developer roadmap?
So it's going to be good. I talked to Veronica today, who's our producer, and since we've been sort of waiting and didn't want to show our hand, she's going to be updating the roadmap with like what's happening in Q3 and then leading up to launch. So that'll get updated with all sorts of stuff, and we'll sort of move things around. But I'm really excited for getting to 1.0 and then what things we have planned in the future for that.
Are we going to see a 0.8 and a 0.9 before we get to December?
Definitely. So we're going to continue updating on our cadence until we get there. There's going to be a brief period before that where we'll be in certification, or we're like just bug fixing and doing performance. But yeah, we're going to continue the cadence of updates until a little bit.
Really like the idea of
Your
just
communication
vacuuming
is
up
great with the community. I
resources
wanna
instead
know,
of mining
where else
them.
can they keep up with you
Just
while they're
throwing
on
that
the
out there.
channel?
AsherNear.space is the website. You can also hang out with us on Discord, on Twitter. I'm sure someone will post the Discord link in chat. They're probably watching right now. Yeah, so Discord, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff.
All right, 20 seconds, Kelly. What's your last question?
The worlds look so much grander. Is there a new generation that's happening here?
Yes, so we have a new technology that we're working on. We're calling it Turian 2.0. But essentially, it's going to allow us to increase the player count. It's going to allow us to make more dense and richer worlds with like different kinds of land features.
Yeah.
So that's the really exciting part, and I can't wait to like talk more about that later.
Super exciting. Thank
Joe,
you.
Yeah.
Riley, thank you so much. Kelly, thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
We are going to be right back with lots more games from E3.
Thanks.
You think that things are going to turn out differently, huh? Well, the ones before you did too. Because they
Really
believed that they
enjoying-
were in control. And
They're really enjoying advertising
here's
this.
the thing. We are seduced by it, but you never really possess it. You think that you can control nature. I know, however, what I would predict.
Yeah, that Astroneer looks really interesting. I don't know if I'd actually pick it up yet. It's one of those where, I don't know, they just... What the fuck are those? Excuse the French, but those are the weirdest design of headphones I've ever seen. Alienware, I realize that you want to be different and all, but what the heck? Now that I complained about it, honestly, I probably will pick them up. I don't know. I'll wait for reviews to come out before I do so. I do need new headphones for streaming with, because these ones are not going to last much longer, unfortunately. Ugh, all the advertising. Why did they have to rush the Astroneer one? They could have just kept going and then moved straight into the next event. Well, no, because they have to have people situate and move around and all that stuff, but still.
Only on Intel Core i7.
Alright, so coming up next we have... we gotta wait for it to go back. 1:01 p.m. in Pacific time. So, oh joy. Sea of Thieves. I hope they're gonna throw some more content into the game. I mean... I was so excited for it when they announced it last year. And then it came out, and there was nothing to do. Just nothing. Of course, Microsoft is throwing in several panels about their new hardware. They really like their different hardware.
We have Shelly with us here for Sea of Thieves E3 on Twitch, everyone. Really excited. Rachel and
Again,
I both play this
interested in this
game.
one.
Probably every week, I would say, we get together, hit up Yar.
We're very good pirates. We have a channel just for it on our Discord.
That's awesome.
So we're going to be talking about the 2 expansions that are coming out, as well as the weekly content. So let's talk a little bit about the first expansion that we saw, which I believe was the Ghost Ship.
The first expansion for Sea of Thieves since launch. So we launched a couple of months ago now,
Right.
Which was crazy awesome for us. Like in every way exceeded our expectations. We saw 4 million players come and play in the first couple of months, and something that was really cool as well. Like we always built Sea of Thieves to be something that would be watchable and shareable, and we saw like 5% of people, actually 1 in 20 people, streamed Sea of Thieves as well, which was just amazing for us to see. And then, like, we released our first update a few weeks ago now, which was the Hunger in Deep. I don't know if you guys...
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
The big shark,
Hungered in the
yeah.
Deep.
We've seen the big shark.
And so now, as we look forward, as we were showing in the E3 trailer, we have the Cursed Sails coming out in July, and then we have Forsaken Shores. So Cursed Sails, there are these skeleton ships coming to the Sea of Thieves. So, like, actually it's something that, like a while ago, we were quite adamant we were not going to do. So this is part of our testament to always listening to player feedback and like always just growing the game with players. Like it's not just something that we're saying, it's something we're really committed to doing. And we looked at feedback after launch and we just thought, adding these skeleton ships into the world, like people love the ship combat,
Yes,
but
they do.
they don't always want to have to like do that with other players. And something that was really cool in Hunger and Deep was like, did you crew up with another crew? So like Hunger and Deep, we actually saw our ship encounters, like whether or not they ended in combat, that halved during the Hunger and Deep. So like the Sea of Thieves became twice as friendly like during that.
Well, you know what was really cool is even before you guys released this content, the players are kind of making the game their own. There was a time where we were on a sloop and partied up with like 2 other sloops to take down the Skull Keep over
Yes.
another galleon. It's really cool how players are kind of molding the game along with you all.
Absolutely, like it's always been our intention and something that we just want to keep growing. Like obviously you have the skeleton forts in there that encourage, like if you want to, you can go in and cooperate together. Hunger and Deep, that was something that we tried, and it was a little bit risky because the only way you could summon the Megalodon was to have 5 players and the maximum crew size is 4, so you needed to find another crew. So we tried that and it just went down like so well. People just loved it, and like I loved it. Like we all went in and played the Hunger and Deep. Like we all play it online, like when the releases come out, play it with strangers, see what's going on, and turning up to Sharkbait Cove and seeing all those like ships just waiting there and people getting the speaking trumpet out saying, hey, do you want to come and fight the Megalodon with us?
That was such a cool piece of content.
It was just super cool.
It's just like, yeah, the speaking, what was it called
Speaking
again?
trumpet.
If you guys don't know, it allows you to actually speak to other players farther away,
Yeah.
kind of collect them together.
Yeah.
Are there going to be new items like that in the game that we're going to see?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Hunger and Deep, you had like the Megalodon, which was like the AI threat, and then you had these tools, which were the flag system, you had the speaking trumpet, and you had the drum. So each release that we do there'll be multiple things in there. So as we move forward, like we're always going to be enriching every area of the game. And one of those tools, like as we look forward to Forsaken Shores, is the rowboat. So
Yes.
yeah.
Tell me about the rowboat because I was so excited to see it.
So probably if I explain a little bit about Forsaken Shores, like first, and kind of why it fits into that world. So in Forsaken Shores, you have the 3 areas of Sea of Thieves that you sail and that you know at the moment, but they're all they all feel different. They've got a different vibe, but they're all the same difficulty. So what we wanted to do was introduce an area that was a lot more difficult. That was kind of like you could opt in as a crew. You will never start there, but you can say, I think we'll head into and it's called the Devil's Roar, like it's the new area, and you'll be able to sail in and like the islands are the threat. So you've got like AI threats in the world, like the Megalodon, and you've got the skeleton ships that are coming in with cursed sails. But then in Forsaken Shores, it's the island itself that's turning against you. So you might step foot ashore with your treasure map and you're like, everything's fine, like we're gonna go over there, we'll find the X. And then you'll feel like a tremor and you'll be like,
So it's worse than snakes
What
and
should
it's
we
worse
do?
than skeletons at their own manned cannons.
And then you look up at like the volcano and you might see like black smoke starts pluming out and you're like, I don't know if we've got time. And you're never quite going to know when this stuff's going to happen, how much time you're going to have.
So it's random, just
And
like a
then
skull fort.
It's immersion. The island is alive and we want it to feel unpredictable and alive. There are little signs like you'll feel some tremors, but the tremors might come and go and like everything might be fine. But then if the volcano explodes, hot lava spews out, you have the debris like really hot, massive rocks falling down. They can destroy your ship. They can like hurt the player. So obviously the rowboat, like coming in with Forsaken Shores, you're a smaller target, so you might anchor down further
Full
away
space.
and then like row in. But with all of these things that we're adding, they come in with these content updates, but then they are just in the world. So after the Hunger and Deep, the Megalodon will just he will appear, she will appear randomly.
Megan.
Or Megan, yeah. Or you might also like be kind of sailing along and just see the fin emerge, which is like super scary as well. And like, do we leave her alone, like, or do we attack first? Like, what's the best thing to do? And when the skeleton ships come in as well, like, we'll introduce that with a campaign. We'll do something special around that, like we did for Hunger and Deep. But then once that time has passed, the skeleton ships will just be another feature that's in the world. And the rowboat's the same as that. So we hope to see things like, I really want to see like how many people get in a rowboat with a bunch of
I'm already
treasure when
imagining
the
this.
ship's gone down and they're
with a
just
bunch
kind
of
of like
TNT and ram it into
exactly.
another one?
That's exactly
That'd be
yeah.
great.
Write that one down, Kelly.
I am mentally.
One of the questions I want to address too, and one of the coolest things I've found about Sea of Thieves is that the way the loot interacts, like you spend all this time and you hoard all this treasure, and then someone comes and sinks your boat and you lose it all, and that's fine because you're not upgrading your guns, you're not losing progress in the game. Everything is cosmetic. And then when you introduce new items like the drum or the far horn, it's free. You just have to unlock it in the game. So I think it's so incredible how you are expanding this universe with your game base in mind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for us, we never wanted to do kind of power progression in Sea of Thieves because a big part of our mantra is bringing players together, and that's something that's blown us away. We've seen people saying, I've been playing this with my husband or my wife who doesn't normally play games, or my kids, and it's brought players who don't normally play together, they're able to play together. And like our mantra around anyone can come in at any point and just have an adventure. You don't feel like you're too late to join Sea of Thieves because everyone's like higher level than you. So, but the cosmetics are just a really beautiful way of like you can show that you were there and you did that thing. So you beat the Megalodon, you have the shark figurehead.
Right.
Like only people who were there for Hunger and Deep and beat the Megalodon will have that to show.
Is that going to be the same thing that we're going to see with the skeleton ships?
Yeah, we will have time. So for each kind of event, each content update, we'll run like a campaign that will have time limited rewards. But we're looking at even updating that from feedback from Hunger and Deep. So people wanted reasons to replay it. They wanted like, I want to go and help somebody else. Like, give me reasons to like do it like again and again and again. So that's something that we're looking to put into ourselves. So yeah. So although we have these planned out, like some of the nuances of that will grow with our audience as we have been all the way through it.
Now, Rachel, you did say that you don't lose anything, it's only a static progression, but I kind of want to be a pirate legend. How is that still working in these expansions that we're seeing? Is it still getting all 3 level 50s? You're going to be a pirate legend. Is there anything new for the pirate legend?
So we are looking at ways to enrich the game for everybody, including pirate legends, but in the short term as well, like we are introducing Bilge Rat Adventures, and the first one will go live this week. So the Bilge Rats, they're this kind of ragtag renegade like crew. They're a new company. But they live like they hang out in the tavern.
They've been hanging in the pub, right?
Yeah,
they got the ratty clothes on.
Yeah, exactly. And they just love the spirit of adventure. So they're gonna have these time limited kind of events that they'll run, these adventures. And the first one we're releasing this week, and that's a Skeleton Thrones event. That's probably going to run for about 2 weeks. Again, like we want to find the right amount of time that it feels like people have had enough time, but that the time limited kind of cosmetics are meaningful to the people who were there. So those events, like the first one's Skeleton Thrones. So we've hidden 10, the Bilge Rats have hidden 10 Skeleton Thrones. We're not telling anyone where they are. They're in really hard to find places. And you need to use your creativity to reach them, like firing yourselves out of cannons. And half of them require you to sit in them with another crew as well.
Oh, that's
so
great.
you'll need to recruit people because again, it just worked so well with Hunger and Deep. We wanted to build on that and then use that sense of community. And for doing these activities, you'll earn a new currency, which is called Bilge Rat doubloons. And the Bilge Rats will offer you time-limited cosmetics. So there's some Bone Crusher cosmetics, really cool skeleton-themed cosmetics for the Skeleton Thrones. So for the amount of time that Skeleton Thrones runs, there will be some cosmetics that the Bilge Rats will offer. And then when they move on to offer you the next adventure, there'll be some more new cosmetics in there. So if you've got those cosmetics or you've earned those titles, people know you were there and you did that event.
Yes, absolutely.
But to answer your question about Pirate Legend, the Bilge Rat doubloons, you don't have to use them for the cosmetics. You can also buy letters of recommendation for each of the companies. So these are basically, they'll whisper in their ears for you and get you some reputation with either the Gold Hoarders, the Order of Souls, or the Merchant Alliance.
I'm not a big fan of the Merchant Alliance. That's the one that I'm the lowest level on.
Right. So you can buy a letter of recommendation and they'll essentially bribe them for you and just get you some reputation, which is our form of XP. Or you can.
The hell are they doing on this street
as well? So if you've got something that you're saving for, like a really
that
nice
audio
thing,
stuff is on there.
Do the Bilge Rat Adventures and earn. So you can either earn your cosmetics, you can buy a letter of recommendation, or you can earn some gold. So it's entirely up to players.
Shelley, this all sounds so amazing. You've told us a lot about the expansions that we're going to see and the new content with the events that we're going to be seeing. And I want to remind everyone what's going to be coming. So let's check out the trailer
the
for Sea of
mic.
Thieves.
You needn't cower in the doorway. I actually like meeting new people. Besides, the conversation with my friend here has reached a bit of an impasse. I think he just needs a moment to cool off. Now, I sense that you brought me something to inspect. Show me.
The waves of change roll throughout the seas, and a new land is revealed. The Forsaken Shores. A place of darkness, where fire and ash consume all. And from the depths, skeleton crews will rise to curse the seas. An ancient evil set loose upon the Sea of Thieves. You have delivered unto me a portent of doom most terrible.
Oh! You just wanted to know how much it was worth, didn't you? Fine, I'll give you 10 for it.
I'm kind of interested. I want to like this game. I really do. So, next up, we have the Microsoft going on about the hardware, it looks like. I'm probably going to idle for it. The stream will still be going, obviously. But I want to grab some food, so I'm going to see what this ID is and see if I'm interested in it, but I'm probably not going to stay for the controller stuff. That's just not as interesting to me.
Take it off, the feeling's gone. We land at this point again. First you played, and now we're lost. Like you never wanted anything. Watching as the colors blend, but it still won't mean an end. Fear we never knew then, 'cause we are. Fighting for a take for a ride, but we still can't see the light. Wishing that we knew this sooner, 'cause we are.
You know, I gotta say, I'm glad that they do 15-minute portions, because it's very nice to not have to, if you're not interested in something, it's only 15 minutes. Then they move on to the next one. Not even that. Granted, the ones that I like, I kind of do want more info on, but, yeah. Well, here we go.
Congratulations if you're still here. It's Twitch E3 2018. Happy to have you. I'm Adrian, joined by Chris and Kira. And this is the coolest part of E3. Why, Adrian? Glad you asked. Because it's not AAA. It's time for the hands in the dirt gaming. You know what I'm saying? The indie titles, the good stuff.
It's awesome.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Absolutely. It's my favorite kind of game.
You're in on this, right?
I'm excited about this. I really love the idea of the ID at Xbox program, and I'm hoping maybe you could tell our viewers just a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, ID at Xbox helps independent developers from all over the world, from every size, get their games onto Xbox One, and so the world can see them and play them.
I know that that's been a challenge for indie developers to get their games in front of people, to tell them about the games, but you're making it just a little bit easier for them to get their games in the Xbox store. You know, they can just get...
Absolutely, yeah. We work really hard to just be as inclusive as possible, get as many games in there as possible. And I think at the show a couple days ago, our briefing, we had like tons and tons of independent games up there on stage. Felt really, really good, and people were responding great to them, so it's been awesome.
Well, if there's one thing we've learned over the past few days at the conferences is that people want to see the games. So can we see some games then?
Yeah, let's take a look at these, and you can walk us through what we're looking at. Sure. So this is Tunic, which is like such a cool game, action adventure. Some people say Zelda-like, and you're a little fox running around, hacking stuff up. But it's just like it's so. I mean, just the lighting model is really cool, and then just like. This guy's so cute. Like, he just, you know what I mean?
He was
like,
just face
like,
up.
Yeah, and then, you know, you do this exploration, and then you get the sword out, and you start, you know, doing stuff. And there's a lot, you know, they've only shown a little bit to this game. There's so much here. And this is made by one person.
Wow.
Yeah, in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And it's just like such a special. I don't know. It's just so cute and
what's
like
the purpose?
Like
you just wake up and he's violent one day.
Yeah, and you know you've got it's not violent, but you know you've got these hieroglyphics. There's a lot to explore, and there's just so much here, and it's so darn cute. I just
cute.
like this is the kind of game
is
that makes
cute.
me love video games. You know what I mean? Like I just want to play it. So.
Yeah, there's just something about this art style that's super endearing. I really like this. Is there a release date for this?
Not right now.
Not right now.
I
Oh,
think
man.
like, but
That's all right. I'll just keep watching this
Yeah.
trailer and footage all over again.
How easy do you feel that Xbox makes it to find titles like these on their console?
Yeah, we try and make it really, really easy. Like developers can just go to xbox.com/ID to apply. We've got more than 2,500 developers out there, different studios that have dev kits, like way over 1,000 games in development. 800 have shipped so far. It's been an awesome program, just welcoming the developers onto the platform and having fun with them. And then games like this show up, and it's fantastic for players. It's great for devs. It's great for us, and it's been really, really cool.
Are there any big titles that you can think of that launched with ID at Xbox that might surprise people?
I guess Cuphead.
That is surprising.
I think that that's kind of like our iconic title, and we're gonna have. We just showed some new DLC that the studio MDHR guys are bringing, so that's
so
a big
cool.
one. If you ask me to remember like names out of like the 800 games that have shipped already, like it's hard
I like
to.
the 800 games or so. It's kind of hard to pick one out of the 800. By the way,
I think Cuphead is a great example.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
might not realize that, if not for this program, we might not have ever seen Cuphead.
Absolutely. So Cuphead was two brothers who started out like one worked on the web, one worked in construction. They heard about Unity. They found out they could make their own games. They just decided to do it.
Wow.
And like that's what we made the ID program for, was so that somebody like that who has a vision and a passion and clearly like a ton of talent can like make something great and share it with the world. And it just feels so good to it's all them, but it just feels so good to just be a tiny little part of that as part of the program.
Absolutely. And Tunic, you said, was made by one person.
Yep.
So it seems like people or companies of any level can apply for this program.
Absolutely. So we have, games like this that are made by one person. We have games that are made by giant studios, 200, 300 people. Like we don't try and define like what an indie is. We just say, hey, if you want to come, we're here for you.
I like it. It's like an open invitation.
Absolutely.
how do you make a game like this stand out? Aside from the way it looks and the way it plays, it stands out on its own, but what attention do you bring to it to make sure everyone knows this game exists?
This is why we have E3. You know what I mean? Like we put this game in our briefing, and Phil I think made the point that this game by started by one person can hit this audience of tens of millions of people. Now it's here with you guys, and it's just so cool to see the response it's getting on Twitter and see all these people know about it, because we live and breathe this stuff. We're in the game industry. We're always looking for games, but there's a lot of people who love games, but they don't have 24 hours a day to be on the internet looking. And so when we can highlight titles like this so that the world can see them, it just feels good.
I feel like the first thing I thought of was when you said people don't have 24 hours a day. Someone out there is like, I do.
Yeah. Oh no. This is definitely
dare
people
you.
who do. We all do, but but other people have normal lives.
What other titles are you highlighting this year?
Well, so one title that we showed on stage is a game called Session, which is from a small team up in Montreal. Super cool skateboarding game, and I did see a couple people on Twitter after we showed the footage at the briefing say well, the CG looks okay, I need to see gameplay, and that was all gameplay.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And in fact, the really cool thing, I don't know if you guys know skateboarding, but skateboarding culture has skaters doing tricks, and then they have this culture of filmers who film the trick on a skateboard, and so the game has a filmer mode. The co-op mode is you're the skater, I'm the filmer, I'm trying to get the trick. And I was talking to the devs about it before the briefing, and I'm like, is that going to be in the game? What's going on? And they're like, dude, that's how we filmed the trailer.
That is
we didn't have
awesome.
the ability to place all the cameras and everything. Basically, the lead designer did the tricks, and the art director was the filmer and filmed it. And that's how they
so
made the
cool.
trailer. It's everything they're doing with that game is so cool. They really, are passionately inspired by previous skateboarding games, and they've made this sort of skate simulation where every trick is unlocked from the beginning of the game. This is one foot, this is the other foot. You do the tricks the way you do tricks, and if you do an ollie and you just keep doing them, you're just going to get better and better. They're going to get higher and higher, and you're going to be able to use it to string together tricks. But everything's unlocked, and then for scoring, they're doing something super bold, which is they're just saying how do you score? Take a clip, upload it to Instagram. If people like it, congratulations, you got a good score.
Wow.
And it's that is cool, that is really something special.
And speaking of cool, you mentioned Cuphead stuff earlier. I think we had some stuff we're going to show for
let's
Cuphead.
check it out.
It's from the DLC.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's a new character
Yeah,
coming to
so
the mix.
Legendary Chalice is Miss Chalice is going to be a new character, which it's funny because there's also a whole new island. There's a lot of new power-ups, but everybody's focused on look at this is so rad.
I love it.
I know, it's so cool. And I have also been told that she's pretty powerful. So I know one of the things about Cuphead was that Cuphead was a pretty difficult game, and I haven't beaten it yet. I'm still on the second island.
I might have beat it.
You might have
Very
beat
nice.
it.
I beat it.
Well, now with Miss Chalice, she's pretty powerful, and so I've been assured that I have a much better chance of beating it.
A much better chance.
So I'm super stoked about that.
You could just play on easy mode. I'm just saying.
Wow.
I'm just
So you
saying.
put on the training wheels.
That's
can't
how I
do
had
it.
to do it. I
can't
did it
do
on
it.
easy mode first and then just work my
That's
way
what
up.
everybody says. So do it on easy
Yeah.
mode, then you learn the bosses, and then. but
Yeah.
Just like in a
Stubborn.
skateboarding
I believe
game.
in
Yeah,
you.
no,
You
that's
start
exactly
off with
right.
one little ollie and you
Yep.
start doing all the tricks.
Yep.
Which, by the way, congratulations to beating Skateboard to the punch. Because Chat's been asking all week long, give me a skateboard, and you gave him Session instead.
Yeah, no, Session's great. Twitter blew up when it showed up on the briefing. It was so cool.
Well, congratulations, dude. Where
Cool,
can we
thanks
find
a
out more
lot.
information about all this stuff?
Xbox.com.
That's true. That is the URL. That's simple.
Yeah.
And what about on social media?
You can follow me at IOCat. You can follow the ID at Xbox program at ID_Xbox, and you can follow the developers using the search function.
Nice.
Search
Using the
function.
search function. Well, thank you very much.
Cool.
Chris.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Pleasure. Kira, always wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Chat, you got your skateboarding, I won't say the other title, but you got your skateboarding game that you wanted, plus more Cuphead content, and you're getting more E3 content. So stay on your butts, sit there, sit loose, hang out.
The time between us, it'll never change my mind. 'Cause baby, I will die for you.
everyone, I'm Matt.
I'm Emma.
And we're hosts at Hyper RPG.
And today we're going to talk to you guys about our love of all things Doctor Who.
He's always standing up for people who may not be able to stand up for themselves.
My favorite episode is probably The Girl Who Waited. Be sure to come on over and check out Hyper RPG. We stream all kinds of nerdy sci-fi related content all week long, and we'd love to see you guys over there in the chat.
It's gonna be real wibbly wobbly.
Jurassic World Evolution. And it's out now on PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Incendiary out.
Did I seriously get that dude in smoke?
Yo.
Oh my.
Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Hey everybody, welcome back to E3. I'm Rachel, this is Anna, and between us is James, and James has brought us something very cool today. This is the Xbox Adaptive Controller, and this has really blown a lot of people away. So give us a quick rundown of what we're looking at here, and then we're going to dive in with some questions.
Yeah, so this is the Xbox Adaptive Controller. We announced it last month on Global Accessibility Awareness Day. Really, it's an Xbox wireless controller that allows more people to play. It's targeted at gamers with limited mobility, and those gamers may not be able to hold the traditional controller or press all the buttons or even hold it out in front of them for a long period of time. So this controller is designed to accommodate a wide usage case and a lot of different disabilities to allow those gamers to play the games that we all love.
Now, you're creating a tool that's meant to be able to be used by a variety of gamers, you know, who have mobility limitations, some who don't. How did you settle on this design to accommodate such a wide range of accessibilities?
Yeah, so we've been making controllers for over 15 years now, and we have a lot of learnings about how to make a traditional controller, but we didn't really know much about how to make an accessibility controller, so we needed a lot of feedback to get that right. So we reached out to some non-profit partners like Able Gamers, Special Effect, and a few others. We reached out to hospitals as well, spinal cord rehabilitation hospitals, like Craig Hospital in Denver, and we reached out to a lot of community members as well. And they gave us a ton of feedback on how to make this type of product, feedback around the price point, around the features, even around what it should look like, even the packaging as well. So we learned from that feedback in order to make this.
And I want to know, where did this process start? Why did you sit down and say, you know what, it's really important that we take on this project?
So we've been adding more and more accessibility features onto the Xbox platform as time goes on. We've had things like Narrator that's been there for a while. We added Copilot not too long ago. And it got to a point where we said, right, we need to make something, a hardware device that's really, really focused on accessibility. It started about 3 years ago. There was an internal hackathon, and there was a small group, a small team who, it was their passion project to make it. And they did it in the hackathon. Then about a year later, there was another hackathon, and they changed the design a little bit. And then shortly after that, they had rallied a lot of support internally, and that's when we changed it into an official program, and we had a larger team start working on it. And now after just under 3 years, here we are today, able to show it off.
Wow, that's really cool. Starting with just an idea from a hackathon, that's such a good story.
Internal hackathon.
Yes.
So those are employees who are looking at these problems every day and thinking of gamers who they want to get included on it all. So you've come up with a design here that speaks a lot to the research that you've done. You've got 2 remappable buttons, and then I think we can see this on our side. 19 optional jacks to add peripherals. And then you brought some of the peripherals here today. So what are we looking at?
Yeah, that's right. So on the front of the device, you'll actually see that we do have buttons that are on the device itself. So these 2 round circles are buttons. By default, they're A and B, but you can remap them to be whatever you want. You also have the D-pad on the front of the device, view and menu, and the Xbox button. So that's enough to navigate the dashboard out of the box and enough to play simple games that just require those inputs. Now, where it gets interesting is the back of the device. You have 19 of these 3.5mm jack ports, and each one of these ports represent an input on the controller itself. So A, B, X, Y, right trigger. And what this allows you to do is plug in other devices, other input devices, could be buttons, could be switches, could be joysticks, and it allows you to create a input device that works for you. So there are lots of different gamers out there, some of which have different disabilities. So we really need to think about not everything might be right for each person, so they can kind of experiment and choose the input devices that work best for them.
That's fantastic. What kind of feedback have you gotten from the community that you've shown this to so far?
It's been incredibly positive so far. Yeah, we announced it about a month ago, and we've had a ton of positive support. A lot of people reaching out and telling us their personal stories. And the good news is that it's now available to pre-order, and it's shipping in September. So we're hearing from people. I got my pre-order in.
So if I wanted to pre-order and I wanted to think about what kind of peripherals I might need, where would I start? Because I think you said there are some already being made. I might want to make some of my own. How does that work?
Yeah, so a lot of these devices already exist today. All these devices do, actually. And a lot of the customers who would buy this controller, they already have these devices. They might use them for turning on lights in the house or opening doors. So we expect that a lot of people will have them already and they'll buy this controller and plug them in. If you want to learn more about them, if you go to xbox.com, we actually have a page which talks about the controller itself. And as part of that page, it gives you a few different options for what accessories do work with the controller. So you can go and learn from that. And then you can also visit our partner websites, so Logitech, PDP, and a company called AbleNet and RAM Mounts as well. They have pages which will show you their products that work with the Xbox Adaptive Controller.
Yeah, the community that would use a device like this is actually pretty large, pretty far-reaching. And I think that, you just addressed something there where maybe, it's a parent who wants to, get one of their children set up and they don't know how to even approach beginning to do this. So is there a place you would direct gamers interested in this type of accessibility software to interact with each other or maybe interact with you guys as you continue with this product?
Yeah, so there's a few different options. I would say start at xbox.com. We do have Xbox forums that now focus on accessibility, so we expect people to go there and sort of share their setups and sort of tell their stories around what worked for them, depending on their disability. And as well as that, I would recommend that people reach out to non-profits as well, Able Gamers, Special Effect, Warfighter Engaged. And those non-profits, they're really the experts when it comes to which setup works best for people, and they can give a ton of great advice on that.
And is there any work that you're doing with game developers, especially for Xbox, that would increase accessibility options? I know a lot of gamers are looking for subtitles are looking for mappable controls. Some games don't even have those sort of options.
Yeah, so my personal team, I'm on the accessories team. So my team is not doing that, but there are teams at Microsoft who have really good guidelines around how to make your games accessible, and they are talking to game developers and helping educate and spread the word. When it comes to this controller, at the end of the day, the thing to realize is that this is another Xbox controller. It's part of the Xbox family. So game developers don't need to change their game to make this work. The outputs that are coming out of this controller are the same as a traditional controller. So when A is pressed, when B is pressed, the game will recognize it in that same way, and they don't need to do anything extra.
Fantastic. So this opens up not just future games, but the entire, Xbox library, because you can plug and play this anywhere, and as well as, I guess, the Windows 10 library now that you have
That's
great
right.
crossover.
Yeah, so the goal behind this device was just to enable more people to be able to play. When it comes to video games, I think we can all agree that video games are awesome. Everybody should be able to play them because they're fun, they're enjoyable.
Absolutely.
And that is what this device is designed to do, get more people to play.
Fantastic.
It must have been really difficult to kind of consolidate all of those needs into one controller, and the decision to use all of these ports. It's really interesting because it's really a hub, would you say, that you're purchasing if you buy this?
Yeah, that's right. So this is the controller itself, and it acts as a hub for you to plug in the other input devices that work for you. And that will translate those inputs and speak to the console and enable you to game with that setup.
And I noticed you mentioned a mount that you can purchase as well. I think that might be really important for accessibility. Like you said, people maybe can't hold it and stuff. Tell us about how you could mount this or use this in other ways besides on the table.
Yeah, so on the back of the device, you've got sort of these 3 holes here, and these are industry standard like mounting screw holes, basically. So you can attach mounts to the back of this device, and we've seen people attach it to a desk, attach it to a wheelchair. You can even get straps that go on your leg, and you can effectively mount it to your leg and then use something like your elbow or something to press the buttons. So there's a ton of different ways that you can mount the device.
That's really cool.
And once you do want to, you get the device, you get it home, and you want to set it up in your particular way, what is the interface like on the Xbox or on the computer to actually map these controls?
Yeah, so we use the Xbox Accessories app, which a lot of people are familiar with because of the Elite controller, and you can also remap the buttons on a traditional controller using that app. So it's the same thing.
Great.
You're able just to download that on Windows 10 or Xbox One, and then you can remap the buttons through the software instead of through the hardware itself.
Well, James, thank you so much. I'm wondering, you've done such a wonderful thing for the community here. You say you've had gamers reach out and tell you their stories. Has there been any in particular that really spoke to you?
Yeah, we've heard a ton of stories.
Sure.
But I heard the story about 2 guys, Corey and Zachary, who are twin brothers. They're actually featured in our announcement video. And one of them ended up having an accident. They both used to game together, and it was always tricky for them to keep gaming together because either the tools didn't exist or they were really, really hard to find. And they were in the beta program for this. So we were getting feedback from them, and we heard the great story that now they're able to game together, and it's a real social component, and it keeps them bonding as twin brothers.
Well, James, you guys have made an incredible product, and I'm so excited to see Xbox going in this direction. What an amazing way to get more gamers playing the games we all love and joining the same community. I'm fine. I'm not crying. Anna Prosser, thank you guys so much. We have so much more from E3 today and the rest of the week. Don't go anywhere.
E3 2018 on Twitch. We're back with more video games, obviously, because what we want, right, are more games. Adrian, Scott, DJ Tech Live, Frank.
Yep.
This is our first second deal. This feels good.
Yeah, man.
You're
This
here.
is, you know.
And you're with us. You're part of
Yes,
history.
I'm glad to be here for that.
And you guys weren't here for this. He loves talking about this game.
I do, absolutely.
It's not even a lie.
No.
So you know what? Even like without a question, like, what would be the first thing that you'd want to talk about more than anything about this game?
To me, it's choice. Like Assassin's Creed Odyssey is all about choice, all about giving players freedom in the way they progress, their RPG, their gear, their dialogue choices, which is the first for Assassin's Creed, the franchise. You can make those choices that impact the characters, impact the world, and ultimately impact the story and the outcome you're going to get.
And you say outcome, I think sometimes people get worried about the illusion of choice. You know, like I chose this dialogue tree, but is it going to change anything? How deep are those impacts, would you say?
They're all over in terms of scope. There's small ones that'll affect, the next dialogue line. There's ones that will affect a dialogue line or change someone's interpretation of you hours later. And then there's ones that'll change who lives and who dies, the ultimate outcome of the story. Like there's a ton of things that you can choose in the game.
Nice.
Speaking on choice, the big change is you can choose whether you want to be, I might say the names wrong, Alexios, is that right?
Yep, Alexios.
And Cassandra.
Cassandra, that's right.
I had a pleasure of playing both of them last night, and let me tell you, the personalities are very clear cut. So you're not just getting a re-dialogue or anything like that. They actually have personality. What was the thought behind giving players a choice now when in the other ones it was just one character?
Yeah, so Ubisoft Quebec, we made the last Assassin's Creed we made was Syndicate, where you had a choice of Evie and Jacob. You could jump between them, but you were forced to play certain missions with one. So when we started work on Odyssey 3 years ago, it was, okay, we need to, from the beginning, give the player their choice of their character. Let them personify that. Let them become that character. And then they get to change how that character moves throughout the story. Because you're making those role-play choices, it's not just this one character that we give you, it's the character that you get to own and go on your Odyssey, which was sort of a core saying for us, was make this your Odyssey.
Absolutely. I know one thing you touched on, even like later on in the break room, was how much naval influence there is in the game because how big the world is. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so naval, with being in Odyssey, being in Greece, when we got to visit Greece, you could tell that ships were super important, even now. So 2,500 years ago, they were vital to the way that people lived. We wanted to bring back that seamless open world naval as seen in Black Flag, so we were influenced by that. The way they set up the controls, the way the combat feels is very related to that. And then it's focused on arrows, javelins, ramming, smashing ships in half, boarding them. You get your crew, so you build your own crew of lieutenants from people in the world.
Oh, wow.
You recruit them either through quests or through knocking them out and convincing them to join you.
I didn't think you were going to talk on that.
No, it's
I
great.
want to get on that too.
I love it. It's great to build your own crew. It really feels like the ship is your home and the crew is your family.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, the first thing I did, like I do in any demo, is I press pause and zoom out on the map. The map is huge. Like, is it bigger than Origins?
I think in terms of total size, yes.
Yeah,
we're the
because there's a
biggest
lot
ever.
of water and they're seamless, which I love because now we get to take the ship out and we get to do a little bit more stuff. And the funny thing you said, my favorite thing to do in this game is kick people. It's one of the first, just Spartan kick them, and it's amazing. They have their shield up, you can kick them, you knock them out, and like you said, because last night I was like, well, he's knocked out. So that mechanic is in a game where you can recruit people.
Yeah, you can.
Wow.
So the goal was
Kick
you
some
make
sense in
choices. Yeah, well, kicking, yes, absolutely.
It's a choice.
Sparta kick was the #1 ability. First thing we put in the game. We knew from the 300 from the movie, like Everyone thinks of that. It's a meme. Like everybody knows of that. So we put that in, and it's still now one of the most popular abilities, and still something we want to talk
Is there
about.
a skill tree for that? Like, can you get like a stronger Spartan kick? Does it go
Absolutely.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I was just messing around.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I did.
It's amazing.
There's a dozen, more than a couple dozen abilities. Each of them are upgradable. They get more and more powerful, and it's all through this artifact you have. So it's a Spear of Leonidas, who's your ancestor, and it builds upon the lore of Assassin's Creed with the first civilization and the DNA and the artifacts and the connection to that. So it's got a very strong connection to that, and you get to really take that to the next level in your combat.
Speaking of which, in all the other Assassin's Creeds, we noticed we jump between two stories. There's the past and the present. I haven't seen any of that in the demos.
There is the present day. We carry forward with Layla, who was in Assassin's Creed Origins. We carry her story forward as she's searching for more artifacts.
Really?
So there's a connection there, and we move that forward.
I'm actually really happy about that because I was like, what happened? You know, I still had big questions at the end of the game.
No, it's all fun and games for things like, kicking people and all that stuff and recruiting them. But like, I'm a big fan of education in games. There might be some resident sleepers and some borings, but just give me a second, okay? I like going back to the previous games and seeing all the things you can learn in locations like that. How much of that is in this game, and how do you go about learning more about what you're experiencing in the game?
Yeah, so obviously with Assassin's Creed, that is key to what we do, is we want to make history your playground. So we need to understand history as the development team. So we traveled to Greece. We hired a historian who was a had a master's in Greek history. We study it, read about it. Like there's a lot of stuff written
But
about
the dude was so
ancient
happy.
Greece. So learning about Socrates, Hippocrates, these characters that are still talked about now. The Hippocratic Oath was created in this time period. There's a lot of things that are core to our society now that were created in this time period. So we really want to transport you back to that. And you get to have those dialogues with Socrates for the first time. So it's not just a passive thing where you're just watching a cutscene. You're questioning him and learning about his mindset and how he approached the world, which changed the thought of the modern era.
Speaking on Greek, I mean, you can't have a Greek without the mythology. How much we're going to be able to see? And I saw a little glimpse of maybe a Medusa, a Minotaur.
Yes, mythology, the Greek legends, all that is, they believe that the gods were real, so we need to portray it in a similar way. And there's a great connection that we make between the legends and with the first civilization and the lore of Assassin's Creed, so they're all tied together really well. But nothing that we're going to show just yet.
Understandable.
And with gear, like we're seeing here on the video, is you've got 5 different sets, pieces of gear you can put on your body. You can change them from stealth or fight, or you can put special perks on them, so you can really make the gear your own. And you'll find legendary gear with different rarities and all that stuff. So there's a lot of great gear to get in the game to make it a really full RPG.
I imagine the more that you explore in the world, the better your odds are at finding legendary gear.
Yeah, there's legendary gear all over the place, and then there's certain characters that you're going to hunt down as well. There's mercenaries that sort of enforce the law of the world, and if you do bad things, killing people, stealing things, kicking them off cliffs, things like that.
That's the best.
They're going to come after you, and they're going to have some of the best gear in the game. So it's really an interactive thing where you're going to want to hunt them in order to get that best stuff.
So are you introducing any new modes? Let's say, well, I played a mode, I don't know if it's called Conquest or...
The Conquest Battles. So yeah, the overall structure of the game is that each state is broken up into its own. It has leaders, but they're allied with Sparta or Athens.
Okay.
As the player, you can go in and defeat them, basically lower their power so that they're weak, and then someone else will invade them. And you can either then choose to defend them or fight for the invading army in these huge 150-person versus 150-person battles. Like they're massive, awesome battles. You get great gear out of these as well, and they're the ultimate challenge for your combat abilities.
Is there like a difficulty selector? Like, you start from like just normal? Can I go to extreme or a hard version?
Yeah, you can go to a much harder area in the world because it's a full progression of 50 levels. So if you go to a place that's harder than your level, you're going to be extra challenged. You can also choose to. The defending army is going to be a little easier, and you're going to get better rewards for doing one or the other. So there's a lot of choices you can make.
But it's still winnable, though. You're really, really good.
If you're very good, yes.
See, that's the stuff that I want.
There's soft gates, is what we call them, where you're challenged, but you can get through it. And
the hour-long battles where you just marathon around and kite. That's me, dude.
Yes.
I'm all about that.
Now, one thing I noticed about this mode is there is an objective, as you see at the top, the UI, the different sides are winning.
Yes.
I'm a guy that likes to sit there and fight things too much. I found out it's not the way you should do it. You should follow the objectives and do that. And another thing I noticed is the ship battles are a lot more challenging this time around.
Yeah, I mean, there's progression in the ship as well. So as you gain levels, the ship gains levels. So it's going to be a continuous challenge throughout the game. You have upgrades for your ship that'll make it stronger. You can shoot fire attacks as well. And then you'll be able to recruit those lieutenants to make your ship better as well. They'll have bonuses and perks for regular combat as well as boarding, where you'll get even better rewards if you go with the boarding. So it's all about letting the player challenge. Obviously, we have difficulty levels that you can select in the game. So there's easy, normal, and hard, and then one beyond that if you really want to challenge yourself.
Okay.
So it's all about giving the player choice.
I feel like one of the unfair knocks you hear in Assassin's Creed oftentimes is it's a reskin version of another game, or if you played one, you played them all. So if you were gonna, despite everything new we discussed right now, if you were gonna drive home one thing that says, look, this is the differentiator, what would you say it is?
I think our biggest thing is the way we've approached narrative and telling stories. We want to tell stories in a different way. Let the player be an agent in that story and someone that changes the outcome of what happens. You're not just passively going through the story that we've told you.
Yeah.
That's through the main stories, and it's also through all of the other content in the games, all the side stories as well. So what we're showing at E3 here this year is basically 5 hours, and it's a side story. It's a very extensive amount of content with romance, with options of how it comes out. At the end, you can see, like when you get to the end, you can have vastly different outcomes based on what you've chosen to do during that time. And that's just a microcosm of the whole game.
Wow, player choice is definitely important in these games nowadays, as we want to be a little bit more involved. I was very much attached to the characters in the previous Assassin's Creed Origins. And what I noticed about this one, the different main characters, like I said, the personality was so huge. It not only made me want to make a choice for myself, but make a choice for them based off their personality. What went into the production of trying to get whoever voiced it to be so good? Like, Cassandra's my favorite. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Just the way she smirks and looks and stuff like that. Did you guys really go beyond to pull that personality out, or was it just something that was just
we set up early on. We wanted to have actors that could speak Greek, that could be authentic.
Okay.
So both of our actors can speak Greek. We went to Greece to recruit actors as well for the civilians in the crowd, and we sort of recreated what would ancient Greek sound like, because it didn't exist.
Well, question about that. If they want to learn more about that, to get like the really juicy details, where can they go?
Assassin'sCreed.com would be the place to go, or check us on Twitter, or everywhere else. We've got videos out right now, so there's a lot to learn right now.
All right, we're going to save the good stuff and let you guys have the search for that. Thank you so much for being here, Scott.
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Guys,
Thank you,
stay
Scott.
tuned.
Thank you.
Tons of games coming. It is E3. You know what it is. Sit tight.
You think that things are going to turn out differently, huh? Well, the ones before you did too. Because they believed that they were in control. And control... Here's the thing. We are seduced by it, but we never really possess it. You think that you can control nature. I know, however, what I would predict.
Do you really wanna love me that like you say you do? Give it to me like you say you do. Cause it's home enough
Incendiary out.
Did I seriously get that dude in smoke?
Yo. Oh my.
Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Hi, I'm Skylius, and I'm a science communicator here on Twitch.tv. I am so excited to be a part of the Doctor Who marathon that will be airing over the next few weeks. A lot of these topics come up in my own stream because we talk about astronomy, astrophysics, yes, even time travel. If you could travel in time, where would you go? There's so many wheres and whens. If you like these kind of topics, make sure to follow my stream. I look forward to seeing you in the future.
Hey everybody, welcome back to E3. We've got a special treat. I know you're excited because we saw a bunch from it this morning. We've got Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Yes.
We got Daniel here from Nintendo Treehouse, and I've got Anna down on the end joining me, and we have so much to talk about.
Yes.
So I want to know right off the bat, what do you want all the fans to know?
Oh, geez.
And is it that everyone is here?
Well, yes, for sure. I mean, yes. Not even that nice cue. It's easy. Yes, every fighter from the entire series is available. The game comes out December 7th, so there's some time coming between that. Every fighter's there, and what I like most actually is every fighter has been tweaked in different ways.
Yes.
So you have a chance to see how they all play differently as you go through the game, which will be interesting to see how people take that apart and really start learning what all these characters do. They announced a new character. You got Inkling, you've got Ridley, and then you have Daisy as well, who's like an Echo fighter.
I actually like all the characters were exciting, but Daisy is a particular favorite of mine. And I don't know if anyone expected, just when she came out, there was a from me. Because Daisy doesn't get much play, you know?
No, it's great to see her in there. She's gonna be, and the Echo Fighters is like based on the idea of Pit and Dark Pit, or Marth and Lucina, where they're kind of similar characters, but a little nuanced difference between each of them as well. But yeah, seeing Daisy in there was great to see that, and people were excited for that.
I mean, I gotta love the redhead coming in, so.
I know you're a fan. And we've got 4 players here playing live for us behind the scenes. You want to give them a quick shout out by name? Or
Oh,
keep
geez,
them
my name?
anonymous?
I do. Oh, geez, who's playing? There's Sarah, Camille, Joe, and Demetrius are all playing right now.
All right, who are you rooting for?
I'm partially Ice Climbers. I'm so happy to see Popo and Nana back in the game, which is great. But Link's in there too, and it's Champion Link this time around as well.
Yeah, we got a couple links
Yes.
to make all the Link fans happy. We
There
got
were
lots
3
of
different links announced, but there's Toon Link, Link, and where's Link all of a sudden?
Well, you know, you talked about, like, with all the characters, there's so much, man.
Yeah.
And you did so many tweaks. So tell us who's coming back and what tweaks you brought to them and why. Was it the community?
The community. That is me. I mean, like, Striker wanted to. He mentioned this earlier in the direct too, that he basically wanted to create what essentially called the ultimate collection of all these characters being brought together for the first time. 30 different franchises being all brought together, and there's over 60 fighters.
30.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That's the answer. We were trying to figure it out before. You are the biggest crossover, I think.
The biggest crossover, 30 franchise. So yeah, just seeing all those things come together in this way. And the tweaks are just what make everyone different that way. Each character's a little different. Like with Champion Link, he now uses his Breath of the Wild, so that's why he's Breath of the Wild. So he has rune bombs now, which are remote detonated.
Ooh.
So instead of that, also if he has no damage, he actually can shoot projectiles as though he was mimicking, as though he had full health in Breath of the Wild. So you have to go in as well. Palutena now has a new move as well. Instead of just doing a reflect, she now can actually counter as well.
Hey, I'm back at the perfect time.
Oh, stage flip.
Hey.
All the items, crazy items going on.
Yeah, you changed some stuff up for Pokemon Trainer. I'm happy to see that.
Yes.
I can play with whatever Pokemon I want to for as long as I want.
You mentioned that you're a big
Thank you.
Pokemon Trainer fan. That's true. You can now play with Charizard, Ivysaur, and Squirtle.
Awesome.
And we kept Grey Ninja, happy to see him back. I'm happy any Pokemon that you keep in the game, like if you could just put all, how many are there?
There's
Like
about
550
300
in, and then you could actually probably take out all the other characters, and then you could just ship the game directly to me.
Well, Mewtwo's there, and Mewtwo's putting up a Final Smash right now, too.
Oh, let's watch this. This looks powerful. Bring it onto the stage, and devastating
Yes.
damage to the center of the map.
And this is one of the new stages, too. This is the Great Plateau Tower, which is from Breath of the Wild, which is now inspired that. It's destructible, different platform. You can even sometimes see the old man will kind of fly into the background as well, doing his thing.
That's awesome.
And there, Calamity Ganon's castle's back there in the background.
Rachel and I both come from an esports background, and so I know that in the past there's been an idea that Smash is not necessarily meant to be that competitive. It's kind of, it's just for fun. Whereas this year I felt like you guys were talking much more to a very competitive audience and people who are really digging deep into the abilities of each player. Is that the case?
It's both ways. I mean, I viewed it both ways. I mean, that's when people start discussing, like, should items be in the game, no items, that's always the back and forth. But yeah, no, the game, the speed, there's a lot more, the game feels a little bit faster. It does reward being aggressive. You're right, the Direct went through a lot of technical things to get a lot of those people who that more competitive side want to be involved in. But I mean, even the people who are playing, like I was mentioning Sarah, they're playing for fun. They're having fun playing it too, and it's even great seeing that in the booth. Me personally, I've always had, I'm kind of in between.
Right.
I'm not the most competitive person, but I like being competitive toward the game a little bit, but just having fun, just smashing it up and just having fun with friends.
Yeah,
And up to 8 players too.
Yeah, the acknowledgement of kind of both sides of the spectrum is really cool to see.
Yeah, and fair is fun to everybody, I think. So you guys do a great job really balancing the characters. And you mentioned that it's a little while until release. So we're seeing characters here, they might not be in their final forms quite yet.
Correct. I mean, Mr. Sakurai said that too. Is like this is something that's a work in progress. You're getting a chance to see how these guys play out. And obviously, for sure, if there's going to be an opportunity to start tweak them, make sure no one's overpowered, underpowered, what's really going to work out. Until you get this game into people's hands, you don't really know exactly how far these guys will take it. I mean, you have the Invitational later on this afternoon.
Awesome.
I'm going to be intrigued to see what these professional players who had limited time with the game start doing. I would not even imagine possible when I play Smash. So I'm kind of intrigued to see what these guys do with it.
One of the characters identified as powerful early on by I think some of the community, they're very excited to see Ridley from Metroid. Can you tell me a little bit about that tail move we saw?
Yeah, tail move. Yeah, there is a sweet spot that Mr. Sakurai talked a little bit. That if you do hit him pretty hard, it does a lot of damage. I think it was like 40, 50%, something. Yeah, 50%. So yeah, you can start doing. But if it doesn't hit that sweet spot, it doesn't do that much damage. So it's kind of timing out that risk reward. So there's a lot of risk reward stuff in the game here as well. So they try to play off of that. But yeah, no, it's fun to see Ridley in the game, and he even showed Ridley's amiibo. Ridley will have an amiibo.
Interesting.
So,
It's so
yes. So all the Smash players will have an amiibo. So even the ones that come back from previous ones that did not have an amiibo from the Wii U or 3DS version, will have an amiibo created for them for this game.
Oh, Ridley had like a special little reveal. Can you tell us why it was special to you guys to single him out?
Just the newest character. I mean, because before even for the announcement, we basically used Inkling, the Inkling character for the initial announcement, which we're playing with right now. You can see Inkling. Actually, it's Inkling and Ridley are both in this one right now.
We have a couple Inklings actually, all with different cosmetics.
Yes, there are 8 different Inklings, all different costumes, different colored ink based on the one you choose as well. So you can go crazy like that. This is even on the stage. This is Moray Towers. That's what's from Splatoon. There's against it plays a little different too. You can see how the Inkling was going down with its the ink roller. It's kind of instantly going able to go down left, right, down the ramps in different ways. Even though Pikachu just knocked out the Inkling.
I love it. Pikachu Libre, we found out as a Lady Pikachu. Love that little heart tail.
Yes, the heart tail is key to that one as well. And then all these things. There's a Smash Ball. There's even a fake Smash Ball now.
I saw that. So
Really?
you guys slowed down and zoomed in, and I was like, oh God, this is when I find out I'm colorblind because I couldn't see the difference. What am I looking for?
It's the icon.
Okay,
I paused it a couple times to see it myself too. So the ring kind of goes at an angle for the real one. The fake one kind of goes around, and the icon itself, it's like it's a fatter line, a thinner line. They're reversed.
Got it.
So it's hard. It is, but it's that risk rewarding. It's back to that idea of risk reward. How do you jump into those scenarios, and how do you play off of that? So that's where it's all coming from.
What would you say the coolest reaction has been so far? What are fans really excited about, or what kind of good feedback are they giving you already? How's the community reacting? Because it's so fresh.
Yeah, it is fresh. I mean, the community. I mean, as you guys were saying before, it's just like the amount of content which people. I think it's just like so many fighters that people. I don't think people were expecting to see all like 60 plus fighters, every fighter in the history of the game, of the franchise, to come into this one game. So that was a big surprise for them. And there's a huge community about Ridley. People were super excited for Ridley. His reveal video was really awesome. A little dark, but I thought it was awesome. And he starts taking out Mario and Mega Man from the backside, so it's really cool to see that. No, and just even the costumes, and all those little things and all this fan service kind of being mixing together. and taking some feedback, as you said, like making like the final smashes be quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about that idea of keeping the action going on the game screen, not making it break out too much and be too long outside of all of that.
Yeah, there were some interesting things. I think it's two of the Inklings when they have their concert, they actually bring in the
Sisters.
frame of view, which increases the area that you can get knocked out.
That was an assist trophy. That wasn't even a final. I think, as a matter of fact, I
Oh.
believe it was an assist trophy, if I remember correctly, because the final smash for the Inklings is the whale,
Oh,
the whale, the
it's
horn
the
whale.
huge
So yeah,
whale.
the whale horn. So yeah, that's the assist is an assist trophy, which is interesting too. That some of the assist trophies you call out, you can even KO them and get a KO for yourself. So that even changes the idea of scoring if you start playing with assist trophies. So it's again that idea of risk reward going back and forth.
Well, with so many ways to play, what are our opportunities like to set up the kind of game we want to play? Best of 3, best of 5, you know, how many lives? Are we looking back at the same familiar interface?
Yeah, no, we're still going. We haven't gotten all the details of that yet, but the idea, yes, there will be some ability to customize. To what level and exactly will it be? We'll have to wait and find out for that stuff to come out the pipeline. But yeah, no, Smash is known for that. There'll be some kind of things along that. I mean, the big focus here recently is more just like it's your first chance to play the game and actually see this whole thing in action.
Mhm.
I've even seen like Mario wearing his wedding outfit from Super Mario Odyssey.
You're gonna get it dirty, Mario. What are you doing?
Yeah, and they even added Cappy as an aesthetic thing. It's not. If you taunt with Cappy, you taunt with Mario, he'll like kind of swing his head around a little bit, kind of do something bump with Cappy.
It's not gonna have the same functionality.
No, you
now.
can't take over another player all of a sudden and do something like that. I know.
Can we get Kirby in there eating some of these new characters?
Yeah.
I'd love to see what that looks
if
like.
If you
too.
have time for the match, we can try to get Kirby in there. Yeah, Kirby is really cute when you see him like start taking other people's abilities, like the Inkling. He also has like a little Inkling wig with the tentacles on his head.
awesome.
So it's fun stuff like that. If
He's a favorite of mine.
If he gets Ryu, he also gets a headband, but the hair too.
Oh, that's
yeah, the hair too. So
yay!
they even showed. I think they showed it in the direct too. There's an image where it all of a sudden pans out and shows like 16 or more different versions of Kirby.
Oh,
you
I
can see
hope
what that
we
looks
can
like.
see
So
that
yeah,
again.
no, yeah, I definitely say check that out again. You get a chance to see what that looks like in that one. So
Yeah, I already saw fan art. Somebody drew a little bit of fan art of Kirby as Ridley, or having eaten Ridley, I suppose.
that was even in the direct. They made a funny thing. You saw Kirby with Samus's power wearing the Samus mask, and then Ridley flies next to him, and Kirby's like, and then kind of gets freaked out by the whole thing going in that scenario as well.
You've added so many fun little things in here. I mean, with 30 franchises represented, you also took the time to give a little special nod to each one. Is there any that stood out to you that you want to point out to fans?
So many
I know, there's so many of them.
There was so much in the conference or in your presentation. There were so many. I was trying to write them down. I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm just not going to get all these. You know.
There's too many things going on. Yeah, I know franchises. I'm just a huge fan. I like Ice Climbers being back. This is being a nostalgia thing for me. I remember playing that game on the NES back when I was a kid. So just playing, a chance to see those characters come back.
Kirby, pick Kirby.
They can pick
Can they
Kirby.
hear me?
Maybe they can. There's time they'll try to pick Kirby real quick for you and see what Kirby looks like for you for the next round. No, that's one of the big ones too. Just some of the tweaks. Even seeing like Champion Link come in the game, and that's just little interesting things they've been adding onto the game. I'm also partial to Pac-Man. I don't know. These are just the things of history.
Pac-Man cost me $100,000, friends. I'm not gonna talk
Oh,
about
right. Yeah, I remember that.
I'm glad you not only brought Cloud back, but you changed up a little bit his limit break, how he presents in the game.
Yes. Yeah, the limit break is a good one too. You actually can see the meter down at the bottom now to see where they're at. The same is true if you pocket stuff with the Animal Crossing, with the villager. Even other tweaks like with Shulk. Shulk now you can get to his arts instead of having to simply cycle through his arts. You can quick choose to one of
That's
the
great.
You get
A lot of
those-
quality of life changes, it seems.
That's what it seems. A lot of tweaks is making, and again, it's all about that pace. Keep that fast pace going. And Kirby's in now.
Is that
Kirby
having
took
eaten
Ridley's power.
Ridley?
That's
Kirby,
really.
oh, look at Kirby, Ridley's so cute.
He's shooting fireballs now.
Oh, he's got a little dragon hat on.
Oh, so
Now hopefully
cute.
Kirby can try to grab the Inkling so we can see what the Inkling looks like on Kirby.
Do it.
Or he just whacked them both off the
Goodbye.
screen.
We have some time before the game comes out. Can you remind us again when it's coming out? And how-
December 7th is the game is coming out on December 7th. So there's a bit of time still, so we'll have a chance to announce whatever new other details that come out, like modes, whatever's going to be available in the game, new characters, moments, playability, all those things. There's Kirby with the Inkling.
Oh, look at it. It looks
And his
fantastic.
little splatter shot junior shooting, which you can shoot different angles. Like the Inkling is another character we didn't get a chance to talk much about, but the Inkling character, using the ink, has to actually recharge it constantly, do a bunch of different moves. When you cover a character in ink, they take more damage now.
Oh, cool.
So a lot of time a lot of the skill of the Inkling is like inking people, then using the splat roller, knock them to the ground, and you can cancel out of that, turn around and use the paintbrush, and just whack them out again.
You guys have been putting in work already. I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of, they've been playing a lot. The guys in the back, I've been playing a lot with Demetrius and with Sarah, and those folks, just seeing who's getting good at whatnot.
Well, you've got the pro players here playing in the tournament showcase at E3.
Yes.
We've got you guys working hard, I'm assuming, logging games every day for our benefit.
Yes.
So thank you for your
Yeah.
hard work. What is the process going to be like for you personally and your team leading up to December 7th?
Oh, geez. I mean, that's cool coordinating with their Japan NCO with Mr. Sakurai, the dev team, and understanding how we want to present that information to the fans and keep people happy and keep it coming out as we get closer to December 7th and seeing what people are most excited for and obviously keep tweaking the characters.
I love the implications too. I mean, we got no commitments, but the implication, you were like, just in case other new characters might be coming out. I heard that.
It's
other
very
changes.
careful language you've
Yeah.
opted to use.
You gotta be careful. Oh, that's right. There's Kirby. Kirby actually has a new, when he does his down B, he actually sometimes, instead of being a different animal, he'll actually turn into one of the chests from Breath of the Wild. We keep doing it.
Very
There it is.
cool.
This is just from Breath of the Wild.
Oh, that's awesome.
The player tree. So there's little, like, again, all these little nods being added to the game, all these things.
Right.
So much stuff to keep track of, and a great community that cares so much about every
Mhm.
one of these characters. Where do they live? Where can fans of the game go right now to interact with the Smash community?
Oh, geez. There's so many places.
Where would you recommend? What is safest?
The Smash community, right now, I mean, just going to Nintendo.com to see what people are up to and then searching the web. I mean, there's so many different communities that people go through to read about these things. Casual to the hardcore, so it'll be kind of a combination where people want to just find out what works best for them.
Great. Well, anything else you want to add about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate?
Jeez, December 7th it comes out. I mean, that's my biggest thing about that. I'm just excited for over 60 characters to be in the game, different stages, different modes, all the different items. There's even new items in the game too, so it'll be fun to see what people think about all that and get excited for.
And the community is thrilled and happy to see it on Switch.
Yes.
Love this console. So much more to come from E3. Don't go anywhere, friends. We'll be back soon.
Hey, we're back here. E3 2018, Twitch, you know where to be. Adrian, Terry, DJ Tech, Frank Live, Tech Frank Live.
You know.
All the names. This is one of the most important segments of the day because if there's any game, come on, it's okay. We can say it. It's Division 2.
Division 2.
Right?
Yes.
Great game.
Thank
Division
you.
1.
I had a lot of fun with Division.
Right.
Yes.
You want to keep
absolutely.
having fun with Division,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's the main thing. People want to have fun with Division more no matter what.
Yeah.
And there's been articles and things where you read about, you said this is not the game we envisioned maybe, and we want to be better. So let's talk about that idea of being better. What can Division 2 do for us in that respect?
Well, I think the best way to phrase it would be the Division 2 is it's sort of the next evolution in open world online RPG shooters.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, that's probably a pretty bold statement.
It's extremely bold.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that we helped create this genre, you know, this sort of this RPG shooter genre, right? You know, we're super proud of that. We've touched everything, right? We've taken all the 2 years of live, because you know we've been around for 2 years now, making constant updates. You guys know all about the updates we do to improve and listen to the community, and so we listened to all that. We just stored it away, and now we're executing on all of it. So I mean that's the super broad way to say it, but everything's better.
No, I mean, I think this first step is admitting and then, you know, seeing your faults and then dominating it and working on it and showing it. And not too much talk, but actually showing it. And I think that's what you guys are doing well.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, open world. That's been a word that was very loosely used throughout the years of many games. But you guys are truly going from an open world standpoint. You have Washington, it looks great.
Thank you.
It runs smooth, I can say that from personal experience.
Thank you.
What went into really making sure that the game was fully optimized out the gate and getting that world so rich and beautiful as you have done?
Well, we're still optimizing, right? And I think I can share this, but we we opened up the beta, right? I think it was yesterday.
Okay.
Broke Ubisoft records, like fastest, most people. So we're gonna have plenty of technical tests, right? Just to make sure our metal is solid from the beginning. But it starts with the building of the world. That's a hallmark, I think, of our brand, right? That one-to-one recreation. I mean, Manhattan, right? You could go to your house in Manhattan.
Absolutely.
We're taking it a step further with DC. So we're using GIS data. Like we're going hard, right, to make sure that all those landmarks, you know, the Capitol Building, Lincoln Memorial, all that stuff, like it's there. It's there. The second part of the open world, I'm kind of a blabbermouth. Hope you guys don't.
No, this is your game. This is what they want. This is what we want to hear. They want to hear about it. We want to hear this.
You know, there was some feedback with the first game that maybe the open world could have been more lively.
Yeah, that's
where we're driving.
Just
so
cards and snow, and that's it.
It's dynamic, right? It's systemic. There's going to be regular systemic interactions that kind of create new tactical opportunities all the time. So at E3 here in the demo, you've probably seen videos from things like that. So one of those actions is called Control Point. And so you've got enemy factions, right? We can only talk about the True Sons. Even then, I can't really talk about too much, but we've got a lot of new enemy factions. And you've got the civilians, and the civilians aren't pansies this time around. So it's 7 months after, you know, the Green Poison, right? So the pockets of civilians now, they have had to fight to get here. And so they're armed.
They're grinders like you.
Yeah, they will help you in places like this Control Point. So you can actually call them in. I don't want to get too sidetracked because all these things kind of layer onto each other, but you have all these groups of AI that have needs and goals. And so they're going to be moving around the open world, you know, going to places like these control points because they have resources in them. And so the enemy factions need the resources. So do the civilians. Of course, you want to help the civilians because you're a good guy, right? I mean, come on, you're not in the dark zone yet, right?
Yeah,
so I mean, you know, so you're going out there, and that's going to be dynamic. So who controls it is going to be different every time you go there, right? So the world.
So now the world's actually
the world
living.
is living, and that's just one activity. Like it's not. It's the control point is just one activity. So when you step out into the open world, you don't know what are you going to see, and so there's going to be alerts and things happening off and popping off, and you can. I'm going to help these people, and I'm going to go do my own thing, you know, whatever. So it's
things
alive.
to do.
It's alive. Yeah.
Right. Speaking of which, Alive is a big Tom Clancy games, as we know, really touch on realistic points. And a lot of people that are brand new coming to the game are a little taken back from the ones they played before. They're like, okay, you know, RPG standpoint, you meet these both worlds together.
Yeah.
Now, to combat the problem that people have been having of, oh, I sniped this guy in the face, he's still standing 3 times deep. You guys added armor, I seen, to the bosses. Yeah.
To the player too.
Yeah, and to the player,
And to the
right.
player.
And stuff is falling off left
Yes.
and right. There's more dynamic events happening while you're fighting.
Yeah.
Was that a direct counter to that issue?
Well, obviously we heard a lot of feedback about kill times.
Right.
You know, kill times, that's an important element of any game that have weapons, you know, like guns and stuff.
Bullet sponges.
Yeah,
Right,
so,
right.
you know, we've improved kill times, just flat out, you know, across the board. Kill times against AI, kill times against players. But let's remember, we are an RPG.
Yes.
This is an element. So in an RPG, you need that kill time topography, I think.
Yeah.
You know, not everything needs to die instantly. Of
course.
And so that armor bar is one visualization for the player to help you understand, why isn't this guy dying? Oh, he's got armor. In fact, I can see how heavily armored he is based on the science and feedback that, you know, we show on those enemies. And then that's just a UI element. But of course, then you've got the actual 3D elements just chunking off into that chewy nougat.
Not with all of them, right? That's not just one enemy you see it happening to. Every enemy who has armor will have that.
If I can be a gamey term, like the Reds, you know,
Sure.
the grunt elements, they probably won't have armor, right? I mean, we're still making the game, so don't quote me on that. But there'll be enemies that don't have there'll be enemies that don't have armor bars, but all the players will, and the tougher. So yes, I mean, we've addressed it.
Yeah, the purples and the golds, of course. Last night I got to experience it hands-on. It felt satisfying. It wasn't just shooting a person and going to move to the next target. I was just like, oh my God, guys, let's aim for this side. This side is messing us up. He's doing a little bit more damage on this side. He's a little vulnerable on that side.
Yeah.
That's good communication. What a good player, dude.
Yeah,
and that's being toxic.
Yeah, just perfect.
And that's the thing that I know is really good about this one is communication was needed.
Yeah.
You know, we couldn't just go in and start going guns a-blazing because we were actually getting hurt.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about kill times too, right?
Yeah.
What's that going to do to cover usage, right?
That's true.
You know, you could say that there's also a lot of feedback about players face tanking. Right, and just not using cover.
The AI is smarter.
Yeah, so
I know that one.
You're going to have to use cover maybe more than you did, depending on how you build. Right. Again, I'm going to say there's going to be a lot of build variety, but it's lethal to stay outside of cover. So you know you're going to have to work on that.
I imagine you can't. Maybe I don't want to assume supposition here, but I don't know how much of this you can go into.
Yeah.
There are different kinds of players, obviously, who are going to play your game. There are the ones who love this in-game aspect, who love the PvP, the raid idea that you guys have, which is fantastic, right?
Thank you.
And then there are the ones who are like, yeah, I like shooting stuff, but I also want a little bit of a story along the way. Not just one to shoehorn in there because it has to have a story, but something that I'm going to play and say, you know what? I actually did enjoy that. I know what's going on, and I'm a part of that. How do you guys balance that?
Well, I mean, we had a lot of positive feedback about the 1 through 30 experience in the first game, we've improved that. And your participation in the story, right, I think it's gonna feel very organic, right? It's not going to be so much as like you have to go here and you have to do this kind of thing, but it's you know, that open world that I talked about.
You see that red point over there? That's where you gotta go.
I mean,
go over here instead.
You know, of course there are missions, right? Of course there are story missions, and of course we're exploring a new story, you know, in the Division 2 that's going to be just as gripping as the first one, but. You know, we're not going to necessarily grab you by the nose and say, you need to go here right now, right? It's here when you want to go.
Okay, player choice. Yeah. Speaking of choices, I don't know if I can call them classes. Specializations a little bit more down that line, right?
Yeah.
Say the C word.
Not the C word.
That's bad.
Specializations. I played last night Demolitionist.
Yes.
And wow, okay.
Yeah.
Got the special ammo.
Yeah.
Whipped it out. It was easy to take out. The controls are very easy.
Nice.
And you felt powerful at that point. It wasn't like, okay, here I have a weapon that just does moderate damage. I'm not going to use this. I'm going to go back to the regulars. No, I wanted to use it constantly. And the way that you limited it made you had a choice. Either go out there and run and grab that after you kill them and can risk the whole mission or stay back.
Yeah.
What was the idea behind making specializations and why?
Well, specializations are the end game progression.
Okay.
So you make it through the leveling game, you get to max level, and you're not done. Now you have another sort of, let's just call it it's not a progression tree, but that's so people can understand. You're going to pick a specialization, and now you have a myriad of choices to make about your build and what that does to your build. Ammo, other things that I can't talk about because it's super secret, but it's going to be, if you pick the Demolitionist and I pick the Demolitionist, our Demolitionist is going to be different.
Okay.
Right? Your sharpshooter is going to be different than some other sharpshooter. So there's going to be choices to make. And you get to experience those specializations as you spend time with them. And they're not mutually exclusive either. So
I was going to ask.
Yeah,
if I want to pick up a bow, I can pick up a bow?
You're not, you can play with one for a while, and then we group up, and you're like, well, we have 3, sharpshooters. All right, I'll switch out.
If I want to pick up the game, how can I do that?
If you don't pick up the game?
How can I pick the game up later on? Where can I get it? When can I get it?
Oh, specializations?
No, information on it. Like,
where
can we get the game?
Yeah, March 15th comes out March 15th. Jeez, did I just lose that lead altogether?
And I just, and you were like,
what? I fumbled the ball.
Oops. No, he was just excited to talk about it.
Yeah. March 15th, right? That comes out March 15th next year. Ubisoft.com, right? The Division game.
Cool.
On Twitch.
Twitter,
yeah,
Twitch,
yeah,
awesome.
all that
Everywhere.
stuff. Yeah, everywhere.
All right.
Check
Thanks.
it out, buy it, love it.
Check it out, buy it, love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Terry. It was a
Thank
pleasure,
you very
dude.
much.
Thank you so very much.
My
Thanks,
pleasure,
Ed.
guys.
Games and tosses and football and fumbles. Stay tuned for more
I'm a-
games, though.
I'm a gamer.
E3 2018.
Rated Teen.
You think that things are going to turn out differently, huh? Well, the ones before you did too. Because they believed that they were in control. And control... Here's the thing. We are seduced by it, but we never really possess it. You think that you can control nature. I know, however, what I would predict.
Do you really wanna love me that like you say you do? Give it to me like you say you do. Cause it's warm enough
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. AJ, come on. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. If you see a crocodile, don't forget to scream.
Don't forget to scream.
Come on, you love this one.
It's a bad song. You shouldn't scream. Ever. Screaming brings monsters.
Yeah, you're right, kiddo. This song was written before when kids didn't have to worry about monsters.
I don't remember a time without monsters.
I know. What's the first rule?
Never go alone.
Never go alone, right. And what do we do when the monsters come?
We shoot them in the head.
And what else?
Always save the last bullet for yourself.
Now, what do you do if I get bit?
Welcome back, everybody. You just saw the trailer for the Walking Dead Telltale series, the final. Now, is it the final season?
Final season.
The final season. Oh my God. And in true Walking Dead style, that trailer was pretty brutal and really real. I really enjoyed it. We're joined here by Kira, and also we've got James Windler and Melissa Hutchison, the voice of Clint.
Yeah, yay!
Yay! Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming on
Yeah.
down. I was telling her backstage that I caught her live performance at the San Diego Comic-Con a couple years ago, and it was really cool to see the faces behind the voices. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
We're here to talk about what's coming up. I see you saw the release date there, 8/14. August 14th. Yep, super excited
For those who
about
don't know
that.
what 8/14
Yeah. In case you're yeah.
month challenge.
So this is called the final season, and where in the storyline or where in the timeline does this pick up?
This picks up post Time Jump in the comics. So we're a number of years after the end of season 3 in our storyline. Clementine is on the road with AJ. She's now a capable and fierce survivor, and AJ is this orphan child who represents the closest thing that she has to family, and they are on the road at the end of the road. Basically, they realize that it's untenable, and they find this secluded school where there are no adults, and recognize that this community might be a place that they could call home.
Okay.
So that's where we are. That's where we're the kind of starting point of the final season.
Now, did you go into it knowing that this was going to be the final season, or did you just have a story that was like, this has got to be it?
I think Clem's story, you know, we have to know when a good story ends.
Absolutely.
And I think that, this is the time for it. So.
Excellent, excellent.
I beg to differ. I'm just kidding.
No, that's actually
season 42.
Right. So I mean,
Prequels.
there are people out there that would watch and buy these games and this series, especially with you voicing Clem forever and ever, amen, until ad infinitum. But I agree with you. I think it's a good idea to have, like, if you've got a good story, it's good to have a good end as well. I wanted to ask you, as far as dealing with the voice acting. How did the time jump affect how you played Clem?
Not much. This from season 3 to 4. Vocally, if we're going that route.
That's what I was talking. Yes,
yeah, no,
absolutely.
there's really hasn't been any change in that.
Okay.
It's season 3. She was already a proper teenager, I'd say. So she's there. She's still there.
How about attitude?
It's interesting because in 3, she definitely she'd been alone, and there was without saying too much because I don't want to get into any spoilery type things. That's a word. She's with AJ, so she's in a role of caretaker. So she's also the essence of season 1 Clem, the polite little innocent girl. She really wants to instill into AJ, I don't want to say manners. Right. Where are your manners, AJ?
She wants to teach him how to be a survivor.
Yeah, exactly.
And the best kind
Not
of survivor.
Not a horrible person. Right. Yeah. It's a bad world they live in, so she's doing her best.
No, I honestly, after watching the trailer this time, I just wrote down, Clem's hard AF. She is she's adapted to the world, and she's passing on those skills and that attitude to AJ, which is really cool to see.
Her character, just getting to spend so much time with her and go from what I was talking about in season 1 to where she's at now. She is an amazing young woman, and I am truly honored to give voice to this character. So it's been really cool.
Speaking of that, I asked if I could ask a fan service question, and I just want to know what is maybe the one thing that the fans come up to you and say either the most or it's the first thing that they say to you.
Well, there's probably a couple, and this is a tiny bit spoilery, but come on, these were from seasons past.
Sure.
It's time. Is Lee coming back? And did I shoot Kenny? So, and I meaning Clem.
Clem,
it's a confusing
exactly.
world I live in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do people have a hard time like separating you from the character, or is it they know?
They know. I mean, that's kind of
Okay.
the cool thing with being, a voice actor is, sometimes on camera actors I've heard, get the you're a horrible human being, if they play like the bad guys, like you do realize I am an actor.
Yeah, exactly.
But
That's not me.
Yeah, he didn't do that. It's really cool to meet the fans and talk all things Walking Dead with them. I mean, this is a fan-driven game, so.
And you've been a part of it for how long now?
We've been trying to do the math.
Yeah, we've
literally
not been doing the math
the
on
last 3
camera.
days.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Subtract
Keep getting it wrong.
2012 from 2018.
Okay.
It's as simple as that, and we can't figure it out.
It's some number that just defies. Now, hold on. Okay, now we're watching the B-roll here, and this is something.
We've seen a couple of things that have been playing on there, yeah.
Definitely
so,
want to bring this up, the new gameplay.
Yeah, so what you just saw there was unscripted combat. So we're introducing segments of unscripted combat to really kind of put the player into the situation and allow them to feel that uncertainty and that fear of living in a world that is overrun by undead. Also, what we're seeing, I think, we might have already gone past it, but we have an over-the-shoulder camera system as well, which is also a break from what we normally do, where we're very much more fixed with the cinematic style. This is just like, again, we're like trying to create the most engaging Walking Dead experience yet. And it just allows the player to explore our environments in great detail. We can also see they're looking really good too with this new graphic black art style.
Does that mean there will be more to explore since we can look around now?
Yeah, there's more to explore. Yeah, there's more to explore. There's even a small collectibles system in it, and yeah, so there's definitely more gameplay. Yeah.
And this one is going to be 4 chapters. Is that correct?
It's going to be 4 episodes. Yeah.
Okay. And do you have a timeline on when all 4 are going to be out?
Well, yes. But the plan is to get them all out by the end of the year.
Okay. Ooh,
so
that's
it's
exciting.
a plan. So that's
It's
what
a plan.
we're aiming for.
So hopefully that'll work out. If not,
Hopefully
that's
that'll
okay.
work out.
I'm
Life
like, take your
happens.
time.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Have you had an opportunity to play these games?
Yeah, I have. I'm actually a huge fan. I've been a huge fan of the franchise since. I watched the show, then I read the comics, and obviously. And it's cool because when I play it, I'm actually really able to like get myself out of my performance. And obviously, I don't get to see the background and the ambiance noises and the other actors. So it's really cool. Yeah. So I'm a big fan.
It must be exciting to see your work like in the fully implemented stage and see exactly what it was that you were working on. Since you probably record alone, is that right?
Yeah, I do. I do record alone. Although if the other actors have recorded before me, they'll kind of pipe their lines into the headphones. So I mean, I'm kind of working with the other actors. Yeah, it's a solo adventure. There's just so many as the playable character with all the dialogue branches and choices. It would be crazy to have too many people in the studio at once.
Sure.
Can you? Now, it looked like there was like more in-depth combat. Is that the like? It looked like there was like choices you could make during that.
Oh well, so that's just there are multiple kind of ways to take down the zombies. It's not like choice; it's a 2-button system. And it's also unscripted, so it's not a QTE. So it's not. You probably recognize some of the language that looks like our old QTE system, where you're like doing button mashes and swipes, etc. This is a step away from that because we're now like free roaming within the combat area. So like there are multiple zombies that you kind of avoid, and you have to time things, and it's just a little bit more engaging.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go into too much depth in this question, unless, of course, you want to. But are we gonna see any cool like cameos in the game?
Oh, I can't really spoil.
Can't say
that.
Okay.
Do you really want to? Yeah, you do.
Well, yeah. No, I mean that's like one of the things fans want to know. Is like, are we gonna see blank character? Are we gonna see Carl or whoever?
Right.
And that's the like because everybody has their favorites. Like. And they want to know that, and if you can, you don't need to spoil. It's all right. But I'm just hoping, like everybody else, I want to see. Yeah, see? Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch you, but thank you very much for saying that. Some people like to touch. So you can pre-order this now. Is that right?
Yeah, it's available for pre-order right now. The release date of the actual game is August 14th.
Okay.
But the pre-order right now, if you order on console, you get the entire collection, the entire prior collection free.
Really?
Yes. So
And what does that include?
That includes the first, the second, I believe the 400 days and Michonne. It's the entire.
Oh, the whole thing?
The whole collection for $20 if you pre-order now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
so
really
it's
cool.
a really good deal.
That is a really good
It's
deal.
a lot of content,
And
a lot of great content.
Speaking of someone who has played most everything the Walking Dead Telltale series has put out, it is absolutely worth 20. It's worth 60. But if they're going to sell it for 20, take it for 20.
Priceless. I'm just kidding. Wait.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I appreciate it. I can't wait to have it. It looks like August 14th of this year is when we can start getting some content. So thank you very much for joining us. And stick around. We got more live from E3 on Twitch. Don't go away.
Incendiary out.
Did I seriously get that dude in smoke?
Yo.
My.
Game, record, and stream without compromise. Only on Intel Core i7.
Jurassic World Evolution. And it's out now on PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Everyone is talking about the biggest event of all times. Gather your companions for over 500 episodes of space operatic mystery. Starring...
Who are you?
I'm the Doctor. Doctor Who?
Don't you recognize me?
The time-traveling, shape-shifting fugitive alien from that one crazy planet with the blue police box. Oh, that Doctor Who.
Yes, yes indeed.
Watch classic Doctor Who on Twitch.
Pulling you out now, and you're feeding your own mind as we're caught in a landslide of what we had. Everything's the same now. Come on, you can give it to me. This is where the line goes. That becomes the enemy. 'Cause it's so exciting. Never gonna get so far down when I say goodbye. You really wanna love me that like you say you do. Give it to me like you say you do. 'Cause it's warm enough for you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to E3. We're taking a little minute here. You know, we're hanging out. We're gonna appreciate some of the features of gaming. So we're gonna do a little music and gaming discussion.
All right.
And I think it's important. You know, I asked you guys to think about this earlier on. Games that have an iconic soundtrack that really do so much to put you in the game as you play, to convey a message throughout the game. And the game that I arrived on for this was Life is Strange.
Ooh, yeah, good pick.
It was sort of the first game I instantly thought of when I thought of a soundtrack that set the mood, that really put me in place. Got that great Connor Oberst, Lua song that I think is so iconic. And so now I'm sort of just lost in that reverie. But I want to know from you guys as well. And Frank, you had something that occurred to you right away. So what do you think about?
Yeah, I mean, the God of War 4 OST, it just puts you in the mood for many of things. There's a lot of games out there I'm like, man, I wish the OST was like a little bit more hard-hitting, so I'll like mute, put that on, and everybody's like, where's this music coming from? So I was just like, so I have my own like playlist, and we go through it, and it just sets the mood, and sometimes it syncs up with what I'm doing. So it's pretty incredible, but it's the drums, the rhythmic drums, it just gets me into the mindset, all right, this is what we're gonna do. I just love the intenseness of it, and the Witcher 3 soundtrack, my goodness. One of the best ones out right now.
When you brought up Halo music, though, I was thinking of the recent trend online of guys going to like echoey spaces and singing the Halo theme. I don't know if you saw that.
I do that too.
You do that too?
I don't actually
Is that
go
you
there.
in the
I just do it
shower?
on stream. I put the mic, there's a setting, like we call it the ASMR setting, and I'm just going, and everybody's like, really?
What a beautiful treat.
So, yeah.
Anna, anything special to you?
Yes, the first one that came to mind, especially in light of Unravel 2 being announced, was Unravel, the first one. I played it over the course of a little over a week, maybe, right leading up to my birthday, and finished it on my birthday. And for whatever reason, I mean, the music is just so beautiful. It's kind of like folksy, orchestral. It's very deep, and oh man, I really like getting deep in my feels of the game, especially a game like that.
Music can do that, though. It changes everything.
I would say that Unravel for me was like, without the musical experience, would have been way less impactful. I think the musical experience of Unravel was a huge, huge part of the game, like a tent pole of why the game was so good. I bawled at the end. And the thing with Unravel is it has a lot of meaning, but the meaning is something you kind of ascribe and feel on your own. Like, it doesn't spoon feed it to you. And so the music for me was a big part of that, kind of getting me into that space to be
pushing you into the
right
mindset.
introspective. And so I can't wait to see what's going to come out with Unravel 2, because I'm going to probably get deep in my feels again.
Kara, any thoughts?
I had to pick two. My personal favorite is Journey. That's actually like my favorite game of all time. And actually, the soundtrack is the only video game soundtrack that's ever been nominated and won a Grammy.
Really?
It's absolutely incredible. And playing the game without that would just rob you of such a wonderful experience. And honestly, I mean, playing the game with that soundtrack, there were times when the music just added so much, and it makes you so emotional. Like you're just starting to cry. But one particular level for me is when you're kind of like skiing down this slope of sand, and it's such a gleeful level, and the music would just made you feel like you were flying, and it was such an amazing moment. The other game for me is Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which a lot of the Castlevania games they just have amazing soundtracks. But for me, Castlevania Symphony of the Night is like the one. Like, it has the most iconic Castlevania music. Like, when you think of Castlevania songs, the one you're probably thinking of came from Symphony of the Night.
What's incredible, though, is you said that only the soundtrack from Journey won a Grammy.
Yeah.
How are more game soundtracks not winning Grammy?
Yeah, it baffles me, really, because there are prolific composers composing for games now. Hans Zimmer.
It's very simply,
soundtracks for Call of Duty.
those awards are given by old people, and they don't get video games.
Really fantastic soundtracks, and they absolutely deserve this praise. They deserve to be nominated at least.
Yeah, soundtracks are like, and even in indie games, are getting into that zone of making sure that soundtracks are hard hitting. Rhyme is a game that was a slow hitter. It was a sleeper hit, but the music in that game, it was a story that was told, was very emotional, and that music was so emotional. And when it was at a sad scene, you even felt it even more, like hit you in the soul area, just tugging the tears. So, God, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the mark of a great soundtrack. Is it doesn't like push you to feel that, but it kind of helps you along to what the emotion the game wants you to be feeling.
Well, sometimes I need the push, though. Were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
All I was gonna say is I fall in love with game soundtracks because they put you in that mood when you're fully encompassed and you're solving that problem and you're having that experience. The best way to remember is to listen to it again. And so I don't know about you guys. I go on Spotify and make myself a little playlist. One of my favorite things to do recently is when I play Pokemon Go. It's a wonderful game. It gets me up out of the house. I walk. I'm not a big outside person, so it's kind of a big deal to me. And I put in the playlist. I want to shout him out. His name is DCat682, but he's got a Pokemon games playlist, and that is fire. It's like all the instrumentals from all the Pokemon games, and so I'm walking around like da 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 da. So I really I use programs like Spotify to kind of bring my gaming experience out into the real world. But I don't know if you guys kind of do the same.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so easy to make a playlist. You get on to a song you like, you either save it or you hit the plus button, throw it on the playlist you already have.
You just drag and drop it.
Right, drag and drop it,
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy.
Rearrange it however you want to, because I don't want to just sometimes you just save it. It's like the whole OST. I like to move songs around because I like to flow into it because, DJ Tech Live, I used to
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the DJ aspect
Right, so
that you get to
before
do.
I went to Twitch, I was doing DJing full time. So it was a thing that I was doing for a while, did a little bit of catwalks here and there and stuff. And I got to do a lot of EDM. Obviously, it was easier to
Not
work
Right
with.
Said Fred.
No,
I'm 60 full. That's the only catwalk song I know. Sorry.
And I was trying to do some production here and there, but I saw how hard it is to do that, so I just stuck with putting music together. And
You
then
do
I-
get to DJ for an audience now, though, because you are a
Yeah.
streamer on Twitch. You have a
Yes.
very big audience following who is passionately invested in a lot of your creativity, and one of those ways you express it is through your Spotify.
Yeah, that's kind of funny that you said that because my Spotify list is huge during Creative Sundays where I draw. And I push the OSTs of all the games because it motivates me. It gets my mind going. Sometimes I hit those blocks that everyone in creative blocks. And when I hear this music, I can get right into it. I know I can just start sketching and the hand just starts taking over from the mind. It's there. But yeah, Spotify plays a huge part in that because it's so easy. And then I can make it public, so.
Yeah, Kira, I know you're a bit of a singer, too.
Oh my God. Well, I use Spotify from the moment I wake up until the moment I go to bed.
Same, though.
And
Same.
I mean, for my streams, it is indispensable. I have all of my stream music on it, and when I start my streams, I have a screen starting in this amount of time. And I use Spotify to play Monster Cat music to really set the tone for the stream. We want it to be energetic, we want it to be fun. So I just have a playlist and I put it on random, I put it on shuffle, and
All right, everybody. That was obviously nothing more than one long Spotify advertisement. But thank you all so much for joining me for E3 today. That is all that I'm going to be streaming of E3 2018 here on Tuesday. In about an hour, we start with Rooms and Reptiles, Dungeons and Dragons. I hope you all join me for that. It's going to be fun. We are sailing on a ship in the middle of a battle against another ship. Ship of undead, I believe. Either way, I do hope you all join me. Thank you to my sponsors, my supporters, rather. All of those on Patreon, my subscribers on Twitch, my donators, direct donations. If you want to help out and make sure this content keeps coming, or rather my usual content, do consider supporting the channel. You can do so in the description through Patreon, Humble Bundle. Just go buy some stuff on there and then we get a portion of your purchase. If you buy a bundle through our link, we get however much of it you want. You can see my schedule scrolling on the screen right now. That is my schedule for this week. And yeah, otherwise, thank you so much for coming, and I bid you all adieu.